Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 2 of the Lap Down podcast. I am your host, Greg Farmer, and with me tonight is Mr. JP, Mr. Ben. Jamie is out this week, so we have a very special guest. We'd like to introduce you to Mr. Ryan Dyer. Ryan, how are you doing tonight?
Doing fantastic. Happy to be here.
Well, it's great having you, bud. You want to tell us where you're from and how you became like a NASCAR fan? Like, who's your favorite driver, man?
All right. Yeah. So I'm a NASCAR fan from the middle of nowhere, Maine, all the way up in the Northeast. Just got hit by a snowstorm today, but yeah. Favorite driver currently is Kyle Busch, but Carl Edwards was kind of the one that got me hooked into the sport throughout the mid to late 2000s and carried me through the 2010s up until the surprise retirement back in 2016, which was not a very fun surprise, by the way. But yeah, so that was kind of the way I got into NASCAR, was just kind of watching generally with some friends, and then ultimately just kind of grew to love Carl Edwards and the Roush Fenway team there.
Nice.
So,
what part of Maine, man?
Waterville technically, but yeah. Insane. For the most part, everything up here is basically just southern Canada.
I used to live in Connecticut, not too far from Maine, so
yeah, it's like
I know how brutal
drive.
those winters are. I know how brutal those winters are up there.
Yep, we had a tree take down our transformer about a week before Christmas.
Oh man.
Yep.
All right, well, it's good to have you on the show, man. Looking forward to a great episode tonight. Ben, how's your week going, man?
It's going pretty good. Not too bad. I can't complain.
All right. JP, anything interesting going on over there with you?
This guy plug in, come over here. My basketball is going on right now, so that's what my focus is on when I'm not doing content like this.
All right. Well, that's cool, man. All right, so we're going to get started here. As always, our intro music is presented by the Alkyli Project. Be sure to check out their latest album, The Blood World, on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your music. We're going to move into our first segment tonight. Our first segment is called Fresh Faces and New Places, presented by Bulletproof Coffee. They have coffee, they have tea, but they do more than just coffee. Ben, do we have a promo code for that?
You have to visit the link in the description, and as long as you follow that link, that'll take you to everything you need, and we'll get the credit for everything that's bought off the website.
All right. So our first fresh face in a new place tonight is going to be Mr. Justin Hailey.
And I just do want to bring attention. We do have a new person in our podcast. He's from our football podcast. We have Tyler just joined.
Well, welcome in, Tyler.
All right.
I think he joined on a computer. He may be having the same issues a few of us had earlier.
I gotcha.
Can you guys hear me now?
Oh, yes.
There we go.
Yes, we can. Yep. Welcome in, Tyler.
How are you going?
All right. So, Tyler, tell us where you're from. Are you a motorsports fan? Like, what's going on in your life there, buddy?
Well, first off, I'm a huge motorsports fan. I'm originally from New York, but I'm right now residing in Cincinnati, Ohio. I am a huge F1 NASCAR fan. I love dirt racing. I love all sorts of racing, especially IMSA, NASCAR, you name it. But I mainly know a lot about F1 and NASCAR. Other than that, not much going on in my life besides work.
All right. Who's your favorite NASCAR driver, if you don't mind me asking?
Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott.
That's my name.
All right.
Former Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan.
There we go. All right. So, Tyler, you're just in time. We just moved into Fresh Faces and New Places. So the first fresh face we're going to talk about tonight is Mr. Justin Hailey. He was the full-time driver in the 31 car for Alkyli Racing in 2023. And in a shocking twist and turn of events in July of 2023, it was announced that he was going to join Rick Ware Racing for a multi-year contract in 2024. Starting with Ben, how do we feel about that? Would you consider that a downgrade?
I mean, how many opportunities can he get? I mean, he's a young dude. I mean, he's 24. I wouldn't say it's a downgrade. I would just say he's given an opportunity. Show me what you got. Maybe he'll do good. We'll see. I mean, it's hit or miss for him right now.
I mean, Rick Ware Racing. I mean, honestly, Rick Ware Racing's not terrible. They're not as bad as they have been.
No, I agree. I will say in 2023 they were a little bit more competitive. Ryan, you got any thoughts on it?
All right, yeah, I've got a couple of thoughts on it. A lot of them still stemming from when I first heard the announcement. It feels like a bit of a downgrade, although it's hard to predict where the Alkyli Racing team will go, considering they're a fairly new team as well. But considering the starting point was a lot higher from where he was to going to a very much unknown and basically just gambling on that upgraded technical alliance, because they're now a in-house partner with Roush Fenway and their team, kind of just saying if they gamble and that takes them a good step up.
I thought they were as with SHR.
I thought it was with Roush. I thought it was RFK that they aligned with. Not to mention RFK's the better Ford team right now.
I would have to go back and look, but I want to say maybe Rick Ware was partnered with SHR in 2023, but now they are aligned with RFK. But I'm not 100% confident on that.
Well, Ryan, pull it up.
All right.
Well, Ryan pulls that up. Justin, you want to give your thoughts on it?
It's RFK. It is RFK.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was right on that. Okay, good.
Okay, so here is my fear. Okay, the kid, I'll call him a kid because that's what he is. He's a young man like the rest of us, and he didn't so much speed at college, but I think a new first start for him this year with his first multi-year deal is a good thing, but it's hard to tell not knowing. I'll have to see him race Daytona, maybe Atlanta, and then Bristol, maybe.
Yeah, I think the start to the season will look more impressive, especially considering that Roush program was so good at the super speedways and honestly has been for years. I think the real test will be once they get through the first two races, once they go to a quote-unquote real racetrack, as Kyle Busch once called it, to see what ends up happening after they get off the super speedways.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Ryan there. He's got to go to some mile and a half, and then we can evaluate.
I was saying, it depends on how much power they're getting out of that technical alliance.
Yeah. I mean, we can all agree, like, it was either Tyler or Ryan that just said it. RFK was definitely the better Ford team in 2023. So
it's just,
I think maybe RWR shows up this year and
top
is
15.
competitive. Yeah, I would say top 15s.
Top 15, top 20. I mean, Justin Hailey is literally my age. He's 24 years old.
Yeah.
So he still has a lot of time to grow. And honestly, I think Rick Ware Racing was on the rise anyway. I mean, Cody Ware is Cody Ware, but when they had Jensen
Yeah.
Button, and who was it, JJ Hailey run, they were probably a top 15, top 20 team each week.
Yep. All right. So our next fresh face in a new place is none other than Shane van Gisbergen. So Shane van Gisbergen is known for racing in the Supercars Championship in, I believe, Australia and New Zealand. He has 3 Supercar Championships in 2016, 2021, and 2022. 80 total wins, which is 4th all-time on the Supercars Championship win list. And he has won the Bot Hurst 1000 3 times in 2020, 2022, and 2023. Now, we all know that he made his NASCAR Cup Series debut at the Chicago Street Course last year, driving the number 91 for Trackhouse Racing in their quote Project 91 car. And he became the first driver to win in his Cup Series debut since 1963. Now, it was announced in right after that, actually, that he was going to race, I believe it was 2025 full time in the Cup Series.
So,
but before that, he is actually going to compete full time in the Xfinity Series and the number 97 Chevrolet for Colleague in 2024. So, guys, starting with Mr. Ben, how do we feel about that?
I think he might be a flash in the pan. The only reason why he won the road course is because he's a road course expert. I mean,
he's a street course expert as well.
Well, there you go. That even favors more in his odds. I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
Because the Xfinity,
we'll see how he does.
Just remember, the Xfinity car is completely different from the Cup car. It has a four gear H pattern standard shifting. You're gonna have to use the clutch a little bit more than the Cup, and plus it doesn't handle nearly as well, and it has about maybe about 50 less horsepower.
Yep. Mr. Ryan.
All right. So I don't know how many of you guys either knew about it or actually watched the one truck race that he actually took part in, because that was probably the start last year that intrigued me the most from SVG, because it wasn't on a road course. It wasn't on a street course. It was actually at Gateway Motorsports Park in the summertime.
Yeah, I watched highlights. I didn't watch the actual race.
Yeah, so I stayed up and watched the entire race of that as it was happening. And he fought and stayed on the lead lap all the way up until I think he got lapped with 5 laps to go or something. But he finished top 20 in his first ever oval start in a NASCAR truck, which is extremely different from anything he's ever driven.
He was also on shitty equipment too to put it to top.
Yeah, he was in Nice Motorsports, which I would say.
No, wait, Nice Motorsports is top equipment.
Yeah, it definitely isn't terrible equipment, but
Nice Motorsports is not top equipment in my eyes.
It was when Ross Chastain was running it.
Yeah, I would say it's probably
top 10 been the last 5-6 years.
I would say it's probably B-tier equipment out. I'd probably say it's probably tier 2 equipment.
Yeah,
would be where I would
classify
it, but
they're not like all stars like Thor Sport or KBM, but they're top 10, top 15 easily.
Well, but when you factor in that there were 5 Thor Sport trucks last year, I mean that clogs up that top 10 pretty quick when you fill up 5.
Only 4 because
Thor Sport trucks.
Only 4 because fucking Hailey Deegan. Nope. Only 4 that.
Well, yeah, but then you have. Then you had GMS, who had at least 1 or 2 cars up in the top 10 to 15 all the time between.
You also had KBM.
Finger and Raja Caruth was in that 24 truck a lot.
Yeah, DGR or what the hell they call it now.
Yeah, David
Tricon.
Gilliland Racing had a few up
Yes.
there. You had the Front Row Motorsports Ford that was up in the mix every week.
You had KBM too. Don't forget about KBM.
Yeah, I mean, KBM took a bit of a step back the last couple of years, especially the shift to Chevy seemed to hold them back a little bit, but yeah, they were right in that mix as well.
Rumor
And
has
it
it,
started-
rumor has it, Hendrick's bringing back their truck program in the next few years, from what I've been hearing.
Yeah, so again, that top
Oh.
10 to 15 starts getting very populated, and again, just gives more credit to a guy making his first oval start.
Still though,
getting
a
20th place
guy
finish.
who never raced an oval finished top 20 in his first start. That is pretty damn good.
And stayed on the lead lap all day, because it's not like, oh, we went a lap down early. Because once you go that lap down, it's very hard to recover. But he fought and stayed on the lead lap all day.
Yep.
Now
I will.
sorry.
Go ahead. No,
No.
go ahead, Tyler.
No, my personal opinion on SVG, I watched some of those highlights with like the supercars. The only reason I'm concerned that he probably won't do well in the Xfinity is how well is he going to adapt to stick shift? How well is he going to handle a car that is basically a brick on wheels? I'm sorry, those Xfinity cars they're great on a mile and a half and stuff like that, but their road courses, they handle like shit.
Yeah.
And the thing is he can be able to handle being able to heel toe like Ayrton Senna? Is he gonna be able to adapt it like quickly, like what is it called? Marcus Ambrose did and what Montoya did?
Yep.
And the key thing is he's got to have a good leader.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah, who is crew chiefing that program? Do we know?
Not at the
I'm
top.
not entirely sure.
I don't know either, actually.
Let me see if Wikipedia has any information.
Yeah, because whoever they pair him up with, that's going to be almost as important as what series he's in. I mean,
Yep.
Obviously the Cup Series would be way more to his liking because the cars are similar to what he's driven before, but
now I will add that it was announced just a couple of weeks ago that right before the Xfinity Series race at Daytona, he will be competing in the ARCA Series race to get some extra track time.
I read that.
Yep.
And I think isn't he also trying out for the 500 too?
Yes.
Oh, is he
ARCA.
attempt to qualify for the 500? I knew he announced a few Cup races. Didn't see if Daytona was on there.
On December 31st, 2023, Alkyli Racing announced that Van Gisbergen would compete full-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and he also plans to run the ARCA race at Daytona in order to receive approval to compete at super speedway events in NASCAR on January 2nd. It was announced that he would then be competing for Pinnacle Racing Group in the race.
Yeah, I know when it comes to his Cup Series, I know both Talladega races were on there and the Coke 600's on there. I don't remember hearing Daytona 500 named.
I believe it was announced a few. I think it was last week that he was going to try to run the
with the 91
Daytona 500.
With the 91, I think, right?
It's either the 91 or the 97, I think.
Well, I know he's in an Xfinity car for 97. Maybe he's trying out for Xfinity race. I don't know.
Well, yeah, he has to. Well, yeah.
Now,
he's I honestly think he'll do good on the road courses. It's just the fact that, I don't know if how quickly he's gonna adapt to his
mile and a half.
Yeah.
all right. So while we're on the topic of Shane van Gisbergen, I did see a potential sponsor
Red
for
Bull.
him either in 2024 or 2025. Justin Marks posted a photo on his Instagram page and he tagged a bunch of people,
Red Bull.
and then right at the end he tagged Red Bull
because Red Bull, he's a Red Bull athlete, and honestly, Max Verstappen has been trying. I was actually talking about it the other day I was watching a podcast of Max Verstappen. He was talking about it the other day. It says like it would be kind of cool to see Red Bull in a different other motorsports than instead of just knowing it as me, I'm the Red Bull driver. He wants to see it he wants to see it in other motorsports besides F1.
So,
Well, remember we had F1 or not F1. We had Red Bull
It was
Racing
not very
as a team.
It's going to be a sponsor. It's not going to be like an actual team.
Oh yeah, I know that, but I mean, it was a sponsor there for the longest time, and Casey Kane actually did pretty well when he raced for him.
all right, I've got SVG's cup schedule pulled up here. So, the 7 races SVG is currently scheduled to race for in 2024 will be Circuit of the Americas, both Talladega races, the Coke 600, the Chicago Street Course, Watkins Glen, and Las Vegas Motor Speedway in October.
Ooh, I'm going to Watkins Glen,
So those are the 7 races, and that's coming from RacingAmerica.com on their thing about the Trackhouse announcement. So I don't see a car number. Okay, and team and car number for those cup efforts have not been announced yet, according to, again, this article here. And then it also mentions, obviously, his Xfinity program. And Zane Smith will be in the Spire Motorsports 71 with the same sponsor there for the 500.
Okay. Well, alrighty then. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see come next month how SVG fares in his Xfinity Series debut at Daytona.
Yep.
All right. So we are going to now move into our W Energy Bold Predictions presented by W Energy. Do you need a pick-me-up during the day? Pick up some W Energy. Click the link in our bio. And Ben, hit us with that promo code.
It is SSPP10.
SSPP10. All right. This week's W Energy's bold prediction question is, which Joe Gibbs racing driver in the NASCAR Cup Series has the most pressure on them going into the 2024 season?
Ty Gibbs.
Starting with Ben.
Oh, sorry.
Honestly, I'm going to say it's either between Hamlin or Truex. I'm going to go with Hamlin.
Okay, and why is that?
Because, man, he hasn't been Denny Hamlin of old anymore. He's showing his age, and Truex is too. It just show me what you have, or it's on your way out. And I don't feel like Hamlin has too many more years left, and Truex is not too far behind him.
Yep. All right. All right, Tyler.
My personal opinion is Ty Gibbs.
Why Ty Gibbs?
Well, one, he's on a second full year in Gibbs. His third year, if you want to count 2022, but this is his third season, second full time. He needs to step up. I think honestly, he's gonna stay in Gibbs regardless, but he needs to step up and start showing the fact that he can win in top tier equipment and actually show that he belongs in the Cup.
Okay. Ryan, what about you?
All right. So I actually think that the pressure should be falling on Christopher Bell, because in terms of the pressure on the two older guys there, Truex and Hamlin, Hamlin, he just signed, what was it, a 3-year extension and a 3-year extension with FedEx. So his quote-unquote long-term future with the team is solidified. So he'll be able to retire pretty much on his own terms when he feels like it, 'cause I'm assuming that he probably will end up retiring at the end of that 3-year stint, because he'll be nearing kind of that age where a lot of drivers start to see that stark decline in performance. Martin Truex Jr., he's been talking about retirement for 2-3 years, so aside from the pressure to try and end his career on a championship run, Again, there doesn't seem like there's much pressure because, unlike usual, Joe Gibbs doesn't have an Xfinity level talent right now that is pressuring to try and threaten to take one of those two seats away in Cup. Because that's normally the position we've been in with Gibbs has been. There's always somebody knocking right on that door who's already proven that they might be Cup ready before the Xfinity season even begins. And right now, I really don't think that the NASCAR Xfinity Series or even the Tricon Garage Truck Program really has anyone that's proven that they are absolutely ready, except for maybe Corey Hine.
John Hunter Nemechek.
John Hunter Nemechek's going to be is already in Cup this next year, though, driving for 2311.
Oh, yeah.
No, Legacy Motor Club.
Or Legacy, yeah.
Is he for Legacy Motor Club? I knew he got moved up to one of the two other Toyota teams, but odds are he's not going to be
very competitive
fighting for one of those in-house Joe Gibbs seats, and certainly not at the point of pressuring one of the older guys out there. Then you've got kind of the discussion of who's going to be the team leader long-term there, and I think that pressure should fall on Christopher Bell, as he has the most experience and he is on the older side compared to some of the other young guys that came in kind of that same rookie class with him.
Well, I guess.
And with Ty Gibbs, he just needs to avoid, I think, having a Austin Cindric type sophomore slump. I mean, even of the NASCAR drivers we currently have, very few of them, if any, won in their first two seasons. So, I mean, sure, Ty Gibbs looked like a better prospect than them, but I think giving him at least 2 full seasons without a win, I wouldn't be shocked. And then year 3 would be the time to turn up that pressure.
All right, JP.
So, I have a very interesting take on this. All right.
Go for it.
So, let's put Ryan on the spot since he's new. Ryan?
I'm right here.
Tell me if you agree with this statement. I believe that the pressure is on Denny Hamlin to perform. Otherwise, he will not be at Joe Gibbs Racing regardless of a 3-year contract. After 3 years are up, if he wants to keep racing, where do you think he goes, Ryan? And
I mean, I think he'll either go to his own team or he'll retire. Because again, he's what, 43? What is he now? 42, 41, something like that.
Yeah.
So by the end of his 3-year contract, he'll be what, 44, 45? I mean, that's right around that same age that Harvick retired. He'd be older than when Dale Jr. retired. He'd be around the same age Jeff Gordon was when he stepped away. Tony Stewart was in that same age range. Kenseth
was like 50-something.
Kenseth wasn't 50 when he stepped away. He was like 40, 45, 46, something like that.
He's 51 years old, dude.
Then
and he stepped away from full-time racing at the end of 2017. That was 6 years ago now.
Then I also want to bring to your guys' attention.
Or 2018.
I think Hamlin has a lot of pressure this year to win the championship just because Gibbs has put so much into that program for him, for FedEx to sign with Hamlin for 3 more years, along with Hamlin signing a 3-year contract. So that to me is a lot of pressure on Hamlin.
I feel very much the opposite there, though. I think the fact that he was able to get a major company to re-up for 3 full seasons, I mean, that is extremely rare in this age of NASCAR where sponsors are barely able to cover 8 to 10 races. For most of them are not willing to cover more than that. So I think the fact that he's already managed to get FedEx to commit there, and they didn't lose another major sponsor for the second year in a row, because if they lost FedEx and potentially Hamlin right after losing M&M's and when they lost M&M's and Kyle Busch,
Yeah.
I think that was the big pressure was on him last year to make sure that contract got done.
Well, Denny,
Although I don't disagree, I think there should be at least some pressure for him to make a run at the championship at some point in these final 3 years.
Yeah.
I
But
think
he's got 3 years to accomplish it as well.
Both Denny and Martin Truex are the same age. Just remember.
Yeah, but Truex is the one that's been talking about retirement and has been signing only 1-year extensions versus Denny, who has signed a 3-year deal.
I don't think Denny's going to be driving full time much longer because he needs to.
Exactly.
I think that's why I said Ty Gibbs, because, like I said, he's the up and coming. But there's also pressure on Denny too, because he's the longest tenured one at Gibbs right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my thoughts is I'm gonna have to agree with Ryan on this. I'm gonna have to say the pressure is on Christopher Bell, and because of that, like, he made the championship 4 in 2023, didn't have the best showing in the championship race, not by his own doing. It was because of failure of parts. But if you think about it, when Truex and Hamlin do decide to retire, Christopher Bell is going to be technically the longest tenured driver at Joe Gibbs Racing, so he's going to have to become the leader of that team.
Greg, do you think he's got capability to be a leader of that team?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think there's absolutely no doubt that Christopher Bell has that kind of capability. It's just about living up to the hype. Because, I mean, think about all the wins he had in Xfinity before moving up to Cup, and then it took him, 2.5, 3 years to really kind of hit his stride. But then he went to, 2 straight championship 4s now?
Yeah.
He was in the 2022 championship 4 as well.
Yep.
So
yes,
he's definitely got the on-track skills. The big thing I'd be looking for is the off-the-track leadership to take that next step.
He needs to step up.
agreed. He does. Because
he needs to show Joe Gibbs the fact that, like, hey, when Truex and Denny are gone, I'm the next guy up to lead this team to a championship.
Because I agree.
And to potentially mentor a couple of young rookies, because odds are when Truex and Hamlin both step away.
I think at the end of this year, honestly. I
think Truex will be out at the end of this year. I think he's just kind of been pushing it off little by little, and eventually he's just going to not push it, delay his retirement.
Just think about it, guys. Although all the drivers we grew up watching are literally like, there's how many are left now?
I mean, depends on when you consider having started watching.
Like 2005, 2006 era.
So that would
pretty much
Kyle
none.
Busch.
I mean, it's going to be Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Truex, really.
Yeah, they're the 3 longest tenured drivers, I believe, in the Cup Series as of right now. And then there's a bit of a lull before you get to the Joey Logano era. Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski era.
Joey Logano was 2009. Brad Keselowski was 2010.
Yep.
Jesus, wow.
I mean, technically, if you still count Ryan Newman running part-time.
Yeah, but Newman's not running full time,
and
as I pretty much consider him retired to the same degree as when I mentioned Kenseth earlier. Mm-hmm. I didn't factor in his 2021 season his 2020 season when he came back to
fill for Kyle Larson.
Yeah, because I counted him as retired before then, and then he just stepped back in to fill that seat where needed because nothing was going on in personal life at that point anyway.
Right.
My personal opinion is the fact that like in next like 2-3 years, it's gonna be a completely new field.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, and say one thing I think that is going to have to happen at some point is that some of these hot shot Xfinity rookies who keep flying up through the ranks are going to have to start becoming comfortable with spending 2, 3, 4 years in Xfinity before getting the Cup, because the Cup Series won't be able to sustain having, say, 3, 4, 5 rookies a year moving up into the seats, because eventually you're going to have everybody who's only been in the series for 2, 3 years. And unlike other sports, auto racing, it takes more time and more development than any other sport.
Once Kyle Busch is gone, you want to know the two longest 10-year drivers are Joe Logano and Brett Keselowski.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And then it goes
So, I mean,
then to Ryan, then to what was it? Then to what's his face?
Austin Dillon would be right after that.
Austin Dillon, Ricky Stenhouse.
Yep. Yeah, Stenhouse was 2013, then Dillon was, I think,
actually, technically, Alex Bowman would be in that too, if you think about it.
Yeah, because he did those he did those. Did he do a full season for one of those teams there, Phoenix Racing?
BK. He ran
BK.
He ran
23 car.
Season for BK.
23 car, I think, for 5 years, and then I went to, I believe, what was the other team he went to?
Phoenix Racing. I think he did a stint at.
He went to
Tommy Baldwin.
Tommy Baldwin.
Yeah.
Tommy Baldwin.
And then you got Ryan Blaney, who'll be next.
Well, yeah, Ryan Blaney, but he was he was a rookie in the 2016 season with Chase Elliott.
Wow, that just makes us think that we're getting old, guys.
Well, it's starting to, again, it's that changing of the guard, but
well,
we can't be expecting that to continue rotating through people every 10 to 15 minutes. It's like, oh yeah, this next guy is up. This next guy is up. It's like,
but do you realize how long it took to get to how young the field is now?
Oh yeah, I know.
It took almost 30 years, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm 31.
It also has to do with all these drivers longevity-wise.
The thing is like it didn't. I think the full rookie foot, like the new era of NASCAR started in 2000. Honestly.
Yeah, well, and to an extent, though, and kind of circling back to the point that I was getting to there about the young drivers, is that a lot of people after 2 or 3 years are already looking to kick this guy out the ride, and it's like it takes more than 2 or 3 years for 90% of these drivers to get to the point of winning races and winning championships.
It took Chase Elliott 3 years to get his first Cup win.
Yeah, 99 races to get his first win.
It took William Byron until 2020 to win his first race.
Yeah, it took William Byron again 99 races exactly. Byron and Elliott took the exact same number of races to win their first.
Alex Bowman took over 130 races.
Yeah, although you factor in that he was it took him 1 full year in the 88 car plus the experience of being in a bad car before that.
Let's see who else took a long time to win. I mean, Denny can't really count Denny Hamlin because he won in his rookie year.
Yeah, again, looking at the younger drivers though from this current generation of drivers, like Blaney took over a year to.
Blaney won in 2017. Chris Buescher.
Yeah, Chris Buescher did get a win as a rookie in 2016, but it took him a while to become a consistent contender.
I think same with Justin Hailey.
Yeah, Hailey will take, and that's why I've been saying, like, people shouldn't be looking for these guys to get replaced at this point after only 2 or 3 years.
That's why I'm so hard on, like, Ty Gibbs, and let's see, I'm going to be so hard on Ryan
I was
Priest.
gonna say Cindric can't have another season like he just had. Otherwise,
How long did it take Joey Logano to become a true championship contender?
I mean, he had what 2 years at Gibbs, and then he shifted over to
3.
Penske.
2009.
Oh, it was 3 years.
And 2013 he switched to Gibbs or Penske.
Okay, so in 2013, and then it was so it was 2 years at Penske and 3 years. So it took him 5 years to become a championship threat.
And it took, let's see. I'm trying to think of who else. I'm trying to think.
I mean, Blaney, it took him from 2016 to till really last year was the first year he really was threatening for a title.
Martin Truex, how long did that take him to get to a championship level?
Well, and that came from
Years.
just kind of shifting around teams because he was at DEI as they were shutting down. Then he bounced around to like 2 or 3 other teams.
No, he was only with one other team before, or only 2 other teams before he switched to. He went from DEI to MWR, which he was solid at MWR. He was actually very fast.
And then he got caught up in the cheating scandal there.
And they moved over to Furniture Row and turned them into one of the best teams in NASCAR. And unfortunately,
well, but that even took a year after he got there because he didn't turn them around right away until he met up with
Toyota.
Not even that. The year before that, 2015, he made it to the championship 4 as a Chevy team once he got his crew chief there, the Canadian.
Oh,
Cole Pern. There we go.
Pern.
That's the name.
Cole
I
Pern.
was trying to think of the name, but
once you
Cole
got
Pern wasn't there for that first year in Furniture Row equipment. He was awful.
And how long did it take Michael McDowell to become a serious threat for top 15, top 10s?
Yep.
Michael McDowell.
And I say he's another one of my favorites right there.
McDowell, let's see.
Because he was in like 08. I think he was kind of when I first remember hearing about him. I think that was when the Texas crash happened.
Mm-hmm. I knew about McDowell before that, but
yeah, and then he just kind of spent so many years on very much bottom of the barrel equipment at like Levine Family Racing, getting benched for Ty Dillon at one point.
Actually, now if we're gonna talk about drivers who have the most pressure on them this year, Daniel Suarez.
Suarez should have plenty of pressure because
not only Daniel,
trackhouse team has a lot of drivers committed.
Daniel Suarez. I personally think Alex Bowman has some pressure on him this year.
Yeah.
I think Bowman will have some, not quite as much as
Austin Cindric has some. His seat is burning fucking hot.
Yeah, he's another one where I kind of mentioned it earlier. He cannot have another season like he did, even though his dad is president of Team Penske.
It's gonna be it's a joke. It's a tie
than he should.
It's a joke. It's a Ty Gibbs situation, if you think about it.
Yeah, and again, I'm trying to look at it without the last name in play. Even, I mean, he can afford to have one bad year as a sophomore slump, but he needs to start proving that was a 1-year thing and not a sign of things to come.
Now, like I said, like Ross Chastain's good. Let's see. You know who also has a lot of pressure, Chase Briscoe.
Okay, that wasn't originally the Chase I was thinking because I think
Chase Elliott needs to bounce back.
I think there's going to be some pressure on Chase Elliott, even though I don't think it's necessarily entirely justified. Mainly because of the season he just had.
Yeah,
although
booking league.
The thing is everybody was calling Chase Elliott washed. Well, dude, when you try racing injured and have an issue,
and that's why I would say that
injured and
I wouldn't say it's a ton of pressure because he does have his contract for another 3 to 5 years or something like that.
Chase Elliott's seat's fine. There's no worries.
Yeah, he's definitely fine, but
him and William Byron are set.
But if he struggles for say 2 more years in a row, and it looks like this injury is lingering more than just 1
that's why he got the surgery in the off season, so it wouldn't bother him.
Yeah.
Because
if it,
All right, guys. Shifting gears a little bit.
all right,
what, shifting
Speaking
third or
of,
fourth gear?
we're gonna go to fourth gear right now. Speaking of old and young, I'm gonna let Ryan take the lead on this. Let's talk about the breaking news from yesterday. Ray Evernham posting on his Twitter page about the rebirth of the IROC series.
all right. So, yeah, the IROC series is returning, which ironically for me, I was only just getting into auto racing of any kind because I was still in diapers pretty much by the
I was
time the
saying,
IROC series was
Ryan, you're the
coming to
youngest.
a close.
You're the second youngest out of all of us, aren't you?
Probably. I'm only 22 years old, so.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah,
So I was literally.
you and
I was 5 years old when the IROC series came to a close I was turning 6 when
Yep.
IROC
I
shut
was
their doors
7.
in 06.
I'm 24 years old, so.
So yeah, but according to the
You're
post
right.
that Ray Evernham put out himself, IROC Holding has been formed to house the buildings of operation with the intent to have an IROC racing event in 2024 with historic IROC cars while exploring future opportunities.
All right,
So,
gentlemen,
for
I
the
gotta
most
step away,
part,
guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
all
All
right.
right.
But yeah, so far though, from what has been said, it only sounds like they are planning on a single kind of almost historic event to just kind of show off the old cars while potentially preparing for something bigger in the somewhat near future, which what form that will take, I don't really know because there aren't a lot of details public yet from Ray Evernham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, remember Ray Evernham helped start SRX racing with Tony Stewart, which when it first came around, they were talking about it was kind of similar to the IROC series of old because in SRX the cars are set up exactly the same, and you know it's all about momentum, and it's unlike the IROC series. SRX is short track based. We know IROC raced on all sorts of different tracks, super speedways, mile and a half, and stuff like that. You know, but
SRX is also very much still American based in terms of their superstars that they bring in. Like,
Yeah.
all their superstars that they've had, I think aside from maybe one or two, almost all of their major events that they have won all happened inside the United States. There might be a couple of Rolex, or not Rolex, but Le Mans 24 winners maybe in the mix, but I don't even know about that off the top of my head from the rosters I've seen.
Well, I mean, they had like Tony Kanaan and Elio Castroneves and them run, and I think
they're Indy 500 winners though. I don't know if they even.
Oh, you're talking about American-based motorsports. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was talking about. Is that all of their superstars, pretty much all of their success happened within the borders of the United States. Not directly NASCAR, although I think a lot of their roster has been NASCAR primarily.
So, Ryan, in that statement, it does not say any drivers to be determined on who will be competing in that IROC race.
No, the only statement about the thing is that it has been formed with the intent to have an IROC racing event in 2024 with historic cars. Which, what that means, I don't know. I could see it being an exhibition race, maybe in partnership with Rockingham to potentially try and just completely do a throwback. But again, that would pretty much be entirely speculation at this point.
Well, you just answered my next question. I was going to ask you guys, where do you think this race would take place?
I think it would be a great thing for Rockingham if Rockingham does, and I think they do, have a true intent to return to a NASCAR or any sort of major schedule. I think them reaching out to IROC and trying to help IROC put on this exhibition race, because it only states one event. If you try and help become basically a founding member or a core memory in the new IROC's legacy, you can potentially become maybe one of their staple tracks and cement yourself on a somewhat significant calendar for years to come. Similar to what Stafford Speedway has done with the SRX calendar, where Stafford Speedway hosting that first ever SRX race has now become almost a staple of that SRX calendar every single year.
Yeah.
So I think Rockingham could be in a good spot to potentially do that for the IROC.
I tend to agree with Ryan, but the crack I would like to see is honestly, now I might be kind of far-fetched here, but maybe before the Cup cars come to Iowa, having a race here on a short track, maybe, or Richmond, one of those two places would be good, because I know they used to go to Richmond.
So real quick, just not trying to step over anybody here, but the downside or the reason why I wouldn't see Iowa or Richmond potentially pushing to try and get the SRX, or not the SRX, the IROC series, I mean. I think Rockingham will be more aggressive towards trying to almost recruit the IROC series, because they don't currently have a major racing series of any kind, because Iowa has the Iowa doubleheader for IndyCar plus NASCAR joining them this coming summer. So in terms of major events, they have a couple of them to keep.
I like that idea, because then that way they would get in the limelight, and hopefully other series will win.
Yeah, so if it does end up becoming Iowa or Richmond, that would be on, but the pressure then would be on IROC reaching out to one of those two tracks, versus where I think Rockingham would very much be the one reaching out to the IROC series and putting their name in. Okay. Because Rockingham, just like North Wilkesboro and just like Charlotte, got a decent chunk of change from the government during the COVID lockdown to help with renovating their facilities. So to think that they aren't making some kind of move to become a staple on a schedule somewhere.
Yep.
And the new IROC series could be the perfect opportunity there.
Yep. All right, so I have a pop-up trivia question for you guys, and no looking on Google.
All right.
All right, so we've already established that the last IROC series race was in 2006, because Ryan said he was 6 years old, correct?
Yep.
All right. Who won the final IROC race at what track, and who won the championship?
I know the championship was Tony Stewart.
All right. We'll start with Ryan.
So I know the championship was Tony Stewart. I don't remember if he was also the final race winner. Final race was Kansas, if I'm not mistaken.
And who won?
Who won the race? I don't remember off the top of my head, but I know Stewart won the championship. So with how short the IROC seasons are, probably Stewart.
All right, Ben, give me your answer.
I'm going to guess Mark Martin won the race.
Okay.
I can't answer the other questions because I already read on it.
I'm going to say Matt Kenseth.
I just got here. What are y'all talking about?
We're doing pop-up trivia about the final IROC season. who was the champion, who won the final race, and at what track was the final race held.
Actually,
No Google.
I know none of that. I would have to Google it.
Yeah, no Googling.
It was in 06, so that's what year the knowledge would have to come from. But
I'm going with Mark Martin.
Yeah, I was 6 years old at the time, so
All right, so JP, you said Matt Kenseth won the race?
Yeah.
All right, what track?
Texas.
Okay,
No,
and-
Atlanta. Yeah.
Okay. All right, and who do you think was the champion?
The champion had to be Mark Martin.
All right, and Rumble, you said it
I
was
don't
Mark
think I'm the
Martin.
Tony Stewart championship thing.
I did say it was Mark Martin, but I don't know the track. I'm just going by you said it was 2006, and I'm thinking 2006. Man, I might be completely off there. Was Mark Martin still racing in 2006?
Yes.
He was. Yeah, that was his. I think that was his final year at Roush.
Yep.
Was 06,
There
and
you
then
go.
he went and did a couple years driving for other teams.
Mark Martin, that guy is. Well, he's not underrated because everybody respects him, but he deserves some championships. I would say that guy was.
All right. Well,
awesome.
who do you think won the IROC championship that year?
In 2006?
Yep.
I want to say Mark Martin.
Okay. All right. Here comes the correct answer.
All right, let's see.
The final IROC race was held at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
All right, JP got that one.
The race winner was Martin Truex Jr.
Wow.
Okay, none of us got that one.
Wow, right?
And-
totally
and
off
the
the radar.
And the
Yep.
champion was Tony Stewart. It was his third IROC Series championship.
Wow.
Who would have guessed? I might have had that one right.
I was way off.
So, Greg, don't forget we gotta, since Rumble is here, we gotta go back over.
Yeah, I know. You guys feel that?
What's that?
Yep.
I feel a rumbling beneath my feet. It's like the
I feel
ground's.
it too.
Oh man,
Yeah.
It feels like it's coming from the foothills of Canada.
You
I
don't want to
think
hear
it's-
my opinion about nothing.
I think it's time for Let's Get Ready to Rumble, presented by Fanatics. Do you
Alright.
need your 2024 NASCAR merch apparel? Click on the link in our bio and go purchase your NASCAR 2024 merch apparel. Rumble, what are you grumbling about today?
I'm grumbling that I don't think Ray Evernham is going to do IROC properly. I think he's going to SRX it. I don't know if you guys talked about this. I'm sorry I missed most of this, but I think Ray Evernham's going to SRX the IROC series. The IROC series used to run at the super speedways, and everybody from across many racing series came there, and it did very well. A lot of guys did very well there, and that's what I'd like to see. What do you guys think? Do you think IROC's going to come back and be the IROC it's the IROC that I remember, right? Decades.
Yeah. So.
Well, see, it's perfect that you were grumbling about that because we were literally just talking about the rebirth of IROC.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. I'll start here. But yeah, from the news, like from the post that Ray Evernham put out himself, it seems like the plan is for one solo exhibition race using the old IROC cars that he has kept in his collection, because he's done multiple like social media posts and gone on YouTube podcasts and stuff talking about some of the old cars that he has in his collection. So it sounds like at least this one exhibition race is going to be a very historic, very true to the original series. Now, we don't know what track it could be at, but it sounds like it'll be using the original cars from probably that 2000 to 2006 era of IROC. And going forward, I would be curious to see, because obviously Ray Evernham left the SRX at some point. I'd be curious to see what decisions he didn't like about the SRX that led him to leave to try and start the rebirth of IROC.
I really do think if it does take off, I think it will be a competitor to the SRX. And I think they should do shorter tracks versus the bigger tracks because I think the shorter tracks need to shine.
Now, my only problem there would be that I think if you do exclusively short tracks for this IROC rebirth, I think you potentially step entirely on Tony Stewart's toes, and it comes down to, is that going to be the goal? Is the goal going to be to try and just stomp out the SRX? Because there's plenty of larger tracks that don't get the publicity that they used to. I mean,
Well,
Milwaukee up in Wisconsin could definitely hold a race. They held
we
a
also
truck race
got
last year.
we also got a question. Also, what type of cars are they using? Is he going to plan on possibly switching to dirt tracks as well? Because dirt tracks could also be involved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think because that would be the kind of the other thing would be trying to diversify the kind of regionalization of the schedule, because
Yeah, I mean,
obviously if you
it'll
stick
be.
in North Carolina, there's a short track every 2 feet. Every
Yeah, I
step
mean,
you take is stepping on another track.
we have a dirt track right here in Georgetown in Delaware that I think was Ross. I think Ross Chastain was supposed to race that one weekend when it rained in Dover, and I think it got rescheduled and he raced there. I think that one weekend. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, say we
then
just
there's
had
Delmar.
we just had Unity Raceway up here in Unity, Maine, that just reopened this past year to racing activity. I actually don't tell anyone I said this, but I actually back during, I think it was 2021, I actually climbed under the fence to take a look at some of the renovations they were making, because they were converting it from asphalt back to dirt, back to what it originally was for a dirt track, and they've been having dirt racing events there last year, so
There you go.
hoping to get to go see that track in person for a real race one of these days, where it's only a short 10-minute drive away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
JP, you got any thoughts on Rumble's comments?
Yeah. I think that Rumble is exactly right. Is the IROC series going to revamp itself and go back to the good old days? Because that was some great racing. I mean, I still watch that racing on YouTube. And I think you know, having a SRS series at competition will be good to see which one of them keeps their series around. You know,
Honestly, I would actually much rather see the SRX, or not the SRX. I'd like to see the SRX try and stay where it is roughly in the summer, and maybe make the IROC series possibly,
spring.
depending on how many races they end up doing. Because again, this first, for 2024 at least, it sounds like, again, a single event, but potentially having the International Race of Champions series become almost like a late fall, early winter type thing, to start like right after the NASCAR season ends, to try and pick up all those stock car people who don't have anything to watch, possibly offer a guaranteed seat to whoever wins that NASCAR championship, since they will be a newly crowned champion for the Race of Champions. Could be an idea, but a lot of it is going to be wait and see.
No, let me ask you. You know, obviously you just stated it. IROC stands for International Race of Champions, right?
Yep.
So, do they bring in drivers from other motorsports and not just American-based motorsports? Maybe F1 or supercars or IMSA or something like that?
I would hope that the offer is at least extended to those people. Now, it's very possible that someone like Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen or any of the F1 champions would potentially just not want to come over to race these cars, because a lot of drivers these days, compared to the older days of when when IROC was really at its best, you had drivers who would come over, would cross over from time to time, like Tony Stewart going to the Indy 500, or F1 champions coming to run the IndyCar series, or vice versa. IndyCar guys going overseas to go race in F1, like trying to remember the guy's name. I can't remember his name. Won 4 IndyCar championships and then went over to F1 or went international for something.
You got Schumacher, you got Andretti.
Yeah, Schumacher, Andretti.
AJ Foyt.
Yeah, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Let me Google it real quick. And I know the name's going to come to me as soon as I start typing it in.
Robbie Gordon.
Definitely not the name I was thinking of, but
Or Ayrton Senna.
no, he raced somewhat recently. I'll have the name here momentarily. And I know it's gonna stick out to me like a sore thumb the second I see it.
Dario Franchitti.
Sebastian Bourdais. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, Bourdais was the one I was trying to think of, because I know he won 4 championships back in the kart IRL split era of IndyCar, and then went abroad. I think he actually went over there for sports cars, not necessarily F1, but I think he was looking for either one, and ultimately came back to the States to race in IndyCar again. But yeah, I would like to see it extended, especially potentially guaranteeing a seat to, say, the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Champions, whoever ends up being the full series champions of that. Again, trying to brand itself as a League of Champions, guaranteeing some spots to, again, your active champions from the 2024 from the previous season, as well as having a couple of other invitational spots for past champions like your Chase Elliott, your Kyle Larson, your potentially your Elio Castroneves from the IndyCar series.
Jimmy
Guys
Johnson,
who might not be
Jeff
active
Gordon.
champions, but yeah, your Jeff Gordons as well, if they're open to the idea of racing in the series. Because obviously you can't force anyone to race in a series, but those would be the spots I would be looking for, and kind of have it again in that late summer or in that kind of late season after NASCAR wraps up.
Yeah.
Before it gets completely frozen over, because if you get your northern races done right after the NASCAR season throughout like the month of November, and then potentially head down south during December, you avoid the ice and snow. So you could try and help carry, again, your bored motorsports fans who don't have any other motorsports to really go watch when NASCAR throws their checkered flag on the season.
Yeah. I guess we'll just have to, it's going to be one of those wait and see type things. Wait for more news to come out.
Yeah, because that's the other thing, is that I went and once I saw that topic, I went and looked for other interviews and stuff he'd done, and he'd been talking about the potential of a new design to an IROC car. So whatever the future of IROC past that one event holds, it might not always be the old historic cars too. Yep. There may be a new car design that he's been working on.
Yeah.
That's the question I have, is what car designs are they going to use?
Yeah, that 2024 event, it specifies we'll be using historic IROC cars, but going forward past then, they could roll out a brand new car events in 2025 and beyond.
Well, all right, gentlemen, that will bring us to the end of the episode. Another great episode this week. Ryan, we appreciate you so much for being on tonight.
Yep, I was happy to be here.
Yep. Ben, do you have any closing remarks?
Yes, I would like to give a shout out to the Social Sports Pad podcast for our football programs on every Saturday, the Hard Count, and on Tuesdays, the Twitch Cast. And I believe Ryan has a channel he would like to talk about as well.
Yeah, so I cover my own. I have my own channel where I cover primarily NASCAR stuff, but in the NASCAR off season, I've been tipping my toe into a little bit of NFL coverage as well. So this coming wildcard weekend, I'll be streaming. I think it'll either be 2 or 3 NFL games. I'll be doing live commentary of the event. So if you guys are tired of traditional broadcasters, you can come hear this idiot talk for over the game.
And what's the name of your YouTube?
It's just youtube.com/Ryan Dyer.
Ryan Dyer. All right,
Yep.
You heard it here, folks. JP, you got any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I want to do a quick plug for myself, Full Throttle. Working on getting some big time interviews on Full Throttle this year, starting with former Truck Series driver David Scar. You're coming up in a few weeks, so looking forward to that. So,
All right, sounds real exciting, dude. All right, well, gentlemen, great episode, and we will see you guys next week.
All right.
1, 2, 3, deuces.
deuces.